What's going on, YouTube world? This is your guy, Sealz the Man. You know what? I was talking with my boys the other day, some good guys, of course, and we were just talking about, the dating world back in the day when we were actively dating and such. And a question I brought up to him was, what was some things that you didn't really like or feel, or what was some of the most popular things that women did while you were dating that you feel like they shouldn't have, looking back on it? And I told them to be completely honest, because I wanted to have something to talk about with y'all, because I feel like this is truly important. So I'm going to give y'all a consensus of 5 things that I've heard overall in that conversation. I want y'all to pay attention to these, all right? But before I get started, follow your guy, like the video, comment, follow me on everything, Sealz the Man. And if you haven't gone to my website yet, check me out at www.imsealz.com. Thank you for that. All right, let's get straight to it. So when we were talking, they were telling me these things. I was like, wow, these are some good points and important things that I feel like I should tell my viewer base, and I'm going to do that for y'all today, all right? So the first thing I want to bring up that was one of the most popular things they said was when women brought up too much information that the guy didn't earn yet. When they said things about themselves that they felt like they haven't deserved to hear yet. Right. There's some things that guys should not know on the first day of meeting someone. There's some things about y'all that y'all can keep to yourselves until you feel like that guy is trustworthy enough, if not trustworthy enough, but ready to hear that type of information about you. So the one thing they said about this was that they gave up too much information to a guy they don't even know if he's even trustworthy to give that information to. They don't even know if he's going to be with her tomorrow. He can just, stop talking to her today, tonight. And now he has that information, data about you that he didn't deserve to get yet because he didn't earn that yet. In order to earn information, you have to be, give some kind of trustworthiness and give some kind of value and give the person the thought that, okay, this might work out with you, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. A huge mistake is to give too much of yourself early on, especially to an undeserving guy. All right, so make sure y'all watch out for that. The second thing they were talking about with me when we were talking about this topic is kind of similar to the first one, but telling too much about themselves and not leaving any room for curiosity or mystery. So those first dates, of course, they're super exciting. Anxiety is on 100, on an all-time high. And sometimes you can talk yourself like a motor mouth, right? You're so excited to talk about yourself that you talk too much about yourself. Now, this guy doesn't even know what to say to you or ask you because, you basically told him a lot. Leave some curiosity. Leave some mystery. Leave some space for him to ask you questions, but also leave space for yourself to ask him questions. There should be a balance in communication, almost like a tug of war in getting to know each other, but a peaceful one, of course. No violence. You want to get to know him just as much as you want him to get to know you. It should not be imbalance. You should not be the only one talking. You should not be the only one divulging information, because now he's a sponge and you're just a faucet. This should be a balanced equation. This should be a proper conversation. If you tell everything about yourself, because we can't possibly tell everything about ourselves, but if you give all the good things about yourself and important things about yourself early on, you leave no curiosity for him to want you more. Leave some trails. Leave some space for anticipation. Leave some space for inquiry. You want him to get to know you more. Space it out, because I never want you to believe that you have to tell everything about yourself early on to get a guy, because that also gives a sign of desperation. Let's not be desperate for a guy. And also for the men, let's not be desperate for a woman. Let's not be desperate, period. All right? You should be desperate for nothing on this earth. Thank God for that, all right? The third thing I want to bring up that we were talking about and that they told me was that sometimes the woman was too good for them. Like, she overqualified for them. What some of them said was they hated to see, now that they're looking back on their immature, earlier days, they hated to see a good woman dumbed down to their level. A lot of guys in their earlier days are not where they are now. If they're, if they improve, if they're grown, back in the days were a little rough. That was our ugly sides. That's when we were immature and doing stupid things. And as you know, women develop mentally quicker than men. So even in my experiences, when I dated women, I always noticed that they were always smart. Sometimes smarter than me. It's just maturity. It's a different vibe. When you're a real man, you want to learn more. You want to become better. And what's better than learning from your lady? That is amazing. But sometimes they will see women that want them so bad that they will lose themselves in order to be like their guy. Or they will lose themselves in the things that make them special in order to get this guy. Never do that. Never dumb yourself down for anyone or anything. Be yourself, because when you are yourself, you will get exactly what's for you, what compliments you, what's made for you. Never force something that is not for you. And on the other hand, I want to be inspired by you too. If you're showing me something, showing me a side of life I've never experienced, if you're showing me how to be in tune with myself, how to be in tune with my feelings, if you put me on knowledge or game, I want that from you. I want you to remain you. Show me. I'm open to that. I'm open to becoming better, because that's what it takes from a boy to become a man. He has to have the desire to become better. So never ever level down. I want you to be high. I want to come up to you. And let's help each other. Teamwork makes the dream work. All right. So let's get to the next thing that they told me about in this very intellectual conversation. Basically, they were talking about the difference between needing and wanting. A woman needing a guy versus a woman wanting a guy. So they talked about times when they felt like girls were almost desperate for them. They were doing anything to get them. And then they were comparing that to women they dated who gave the energy, the vibes that I would like to have you in my life. I would like to be in a relationship with you, but I don't need you. Like, I want you to compliment me, but I don't need to depend on you. So they were talking about these two different types of women in their dating times and how different they are and how it made them feel. Basically, they were talking about the different feelings between that type of woman and the woman was like, hey, we can compliment each other, but don't get it twisted. I don't need you. I need water, I need food, but I don't need this. I'm open to love. I'm open to creating a relationship, but I am not desperate for it, right? So they were talking about the differences between the two, and it makes sense. So going back to what I said earlier, never give the impression that you are desperate for something. Because when you give the impression that you are desperate for something, you are just letting the sharks roam around in your water. You are blood in the water. People are going to try to take advantage of you. Never show that face. Never. Know that there's a difference between wanting a man and needing a man, because you have to be careful what you ask for. And based on that, based on if you give the impression that you need a man versus the impression that you want a man, you will direct your actions towards that thing. So if you feel like you need something or someone, you're going to do things to get that on the level of needing. If you want something, you're going to do actions that will get you to that level of just wanting that. There's two different things. Those two things are the compass to the direction of your dating, of your relationships, and the choices you make. So please be careful. And the last thing they brought up in this conversation was that some of the women were rushing things. Basically, in my mind, I was thinking, man, they're living in a house that they didn't even build yet. Build your house first. Make that foundation first before you start trying to act as if you have a house. You can't have a house without the foundation, right? You got to build, because what can you expect if you don't build first, if you don't start somewhere? You can't go to letter Z if you don't start at A first, right? Get to know the guy. What is his name? What is his ways? How does he act? How is his family? What things trigger him? What's the things he dislikes? How does he act in certain situations? Is he compatible with you? Let's learn these things about the guy first before you start thinking about marriage, because that's on a whole nother level, right? So what they were saying was that they would be in, new relationships, fresh relationships, and the girl would be talking about sharing bank accounts and all this stuff, and they were thinking like, hey, you don't even know me yet. Let's get to know each other, right? Like, how can I trust you if I don't know you? How can I trust you if you don't know me? So that was another big thing that they talked about, that they brought up, that they dealt with in their dating days. These were some interesting topics. So let me know what you think. And if you came across this, if you ever done this, if you ever heard this from another man, let me know, let us know. Let's talk about it, all right? So I look forward to seeing y'all on my next video. Peace and blessings. Goodbye.